Good evening. I am back today for video 15, I believe, of the today we continue with the personal development series. And as I promised last time, the last video was on social anxiety and assertiveness. This is video followed video two of that topic because obviously this is a topic that can actually have a video three, four, and five. So there's a lot to cover today, but I'm going to try to cover that as fast as possible. Again, I want to create value without creating boredom. But at the same time, there's so much information that needs to be covered. So, as a quick summary, if you go watch last video, you're gonna have kind of what I talked about. But I wanted to summarize real quick and put a context to this one. In the previous video, I talked about personal development, and in personal development, I talked about social anxiety and how to finally decide to assert yourself. Okay, we're talking about people that have had a hard time all their life, um, asserting themselves in society, saying what they mean and meaning what they say, and push back on some people that can come across with a little bit stronger personalities. And we're going to continue today and with some of the examples, because last time I talked about um, part of the section I was supposed to cover was going to have the drawbacks, right? Well, now that you finally decided to claim, right, your rights, and be respected and assert yourself, you have to get ready for consequences, right? Yikes. But that's what's coming down the road. Because again, those people weren't ready, weren't used to you pushing back, right, around all your life, at work, in your life, in social circles, in family circles. All of a sudden, you discover this thing where you feel like, you know what, I need to kind of get a little bit more stronger socially in my circles, and get people to see me in a different view. So now people are gonna feel like they're getting a new person, and therefore not everybody's going to pick that as very positively at the beginning. So here are a few things I wanted to cover that you're probably going to hear start being said either in your face or maybe in your back. Either way, some of the things that you're going to be hearing say, okay, things, for example, like, oh, he's getting ready to get to get onto some new money. Maybe that's why he's talking like that now, or she's talking like that now, because they're getting ready so they don't have to give us anything or whatever. They've changed now, or they seem a little bit mean and rude. I talked to them last time. They were kind of weird. I was trying to tell them to come over. They just say they couldn't without even telling me why or whatever. Um, or they seemed unpleasant on the phone all of a sudden for some reason. It sounded weird. Some of them are even going to ask you, "Are you okay?" You might even get into arguments. Believe it or not, some people that you never argued with before, obviously because you've always been, you know, the yes person or the pleasing person. So they kind of, you're gonna get into a weird argument that you feel uncomfortable in because you just didn't know. But there's ways to do this, and to avoid those kind of weird arguments. Obviously, if you get into the practices that I'm gonna talk real quick about, and sometimes you can avoid those arguments, to be honest. But hey, you know what? It's a price to pay for your assertiveness. It's a price to pay to overcome your social anxiety. Even worse, why it looks like he or she is becoming better than us. All of a sudden, they're talking to us like this or whatever. Um, and then you even going to hear people say that you're oversensitive. Oversensitive. All of a sudden, they're oversensitive. I don't know. I talked to them. They're kind of responding in a kind of strange way. Anyway, you're gonna hear a lot of things. And listen, some of these, of any of those things, right? Some of the reaction, you're gonna hear a lot of other things of the same nature. What I have to tell you today is don't cave in, right? Do not cave into that, because that's the price you're gonna pay at the beginning when you start to assert yourself. Your ability to claim your rights and assert yourself is more important than anything you're gonna hear. Um, you know, the friends and coworker and some family members or whatever. And again, if it's even family, you know what? Don't worry about it. They'll come around. And then if they don't come back, right? Who cares? Yeah, it's more valuable to you to assert yourself than any type of whatever circumstance that might be temporary, not talking to somebody, or even permanently. Who knows? But don't go back and try to. Oh no, I was just trying to assert myself. Don't do that. You just messed everything up. So, but anyway, any of those things, right? Do not give in. Do not give in. And so let's move forward a little bit, and we're gonna be talking about. Um, and again, you have to remember that one of the things that people have always looked for in others, in order to give them respect, is the behavior, consistency, and predictability. When you have all those three, and you consistently show that in your behavior, and you're predictable and you're consistent, people are over time are gonna give you the concluding attitude or behavior that you deserve. And if you stay steady with that, you're gonna see change over time. It's not gonna be overnight. And so you have to make sure that you stay steady. It's progressive with it, but that you don't back away, right? You can back off. It's a journey. But it's so important. I talked about it in my previous video about the consequences of you not asserting yourself in society and not giving and not getting over that anxiety, right? That you've been having all your life, all those circles, in dating and in relationship, at work, and all that kind of stuff, and in social life. So it's very important that you do that, that you stay steady. Now, I wanted to cover today some little practices, right? As far as what you can do at the beginning to start training yourself a little bit when you want to be a little bit more assertive. Listen, there's a lot of things, but I wanted to do like some kind of general practices on a day-to-day basis. I talked in my previous video about starting to learn how to say no. Know the things that you don't feel like you don't want to do, right? I know I say try hard here in some of my notes, but try hard in every of those things. You have to try hard. Um, use your calendar uh, as a cushion to giving away your time all the time to everybody. You have to start saying things. No, looking at my calendar, I don't have that. I don't have time that day, or I have things planned that day. I don't know. At the beginning, is you're still kind of giving excuses, even if you don't have anything, but you just kind of train yourself to say no. But you have to start with those things progressively to the point where when you're comfortable enough to just flat say that, hey, that day, when I'm home, I don't feel like I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything that day or something like that. But at the beginning, you're not going to be comfortable, so you can start training yourself. Use your calendar as a cushion to, you say, you know what, first of all, people know that when people use calendars, they're also successful. So make sure you use your calendar. Make sure you before you say yes to thing, actually check your stuff, right? Check your plan, check your calendar, check your schedule, and say no, that doesn't work that day. And be careful not to change your mind, right? Not to change your mind uh, once you already made a decision that you called that back and I can do it or whatever. You can change your mind. Everybody has the right to change their mind. But here's the part that is not good is when you confront somebody that you're going to do something the same day, you already give them a time and an hour, unless it's really catastrophic. That part you can change. You can't change on them and say, oh, I wanted to assert myself, that's why I canceled it, like kind of thing. You can't do that. That's different for appointments and things like that. Now, doctor's office appointment, that's a different story. I mean, you can change your mind, you can cancel, that's up to you. That's a different context. Keep your time and your money to yourself. Go out shopping, outing with friends, blah blah blah. People are buying things left and right. They don't budget. They don't do anything. You don't have to buy it before to buy anything. It's, oh, you don't get something. No, I don't. I'm not. I don't want to buy something. Don't get pressured into spending your money. Oh, I'm gonna get one too just to be part of the group. Those kind of things. No. Search yourself. You say no. I don't want. I don't need that right now. I don't want to. I have money, but I don't want to buy it. They can say whatever they want. They're like, oh no, you don't really have. Don't listen to that kind of stuff. A lot of the friends just don't know. They just don't know. Other behaviors that would enforce your assertiveness in society is going to be things like very simple things that I heard. Also, you start practicing a little bit more. Speaking up, standing up when you speak, raise your hand and ask questions, right? And then walk a little faster when you are out and about. You don't want to start having this person just wandering around and walking slowly in the mall, walking or like you're going nowhere kind of thing. No, walk with a purpose. Walk like you're going somewhere, which you are. Um, get a pace. Get in a store, get what you need, get out of the store, move to if you're shopping or whatever you're doing, get in and get out. Start to have the habit of doing those things. It gets you in a mode that you start creating some boundaries and developing some type of personality that is strong and people feel like you're going somewhere. Um, um, don't call. I mean, a lot of time the biggie in all of this is that the biggest problem is that people fear confrontation and saying no just because they feel like they're going to lose some friends, they're going to lose a relationship in a family with a family member, they're going to lose a job, right? Asserting yourself at work. And that's the biggest fear, the confrontation, asserting yourself in society. People are just afraid to be excluded of whatever that circle is. And some of them is actually a job, whatever. I mean, the job context is a little bit different, but there's always ways to do that as well, that in that environment. So um, I want to brush quickly on how to handle a difficult conversation because that's one of the big ones. You want to confront somebody with somebody. You want to bring up something that you felt wasn't right. A lot of people that struggle with anxiety are going to have a lot of anxiety before they get to that kind of conversation. But you know what? I have a few points that I put down here is um, you first of all you practice you literally have to practice it. Some people don't, but for people that are struggling with, you have to practice it, right? Practice in front of the mirror what you're gonna say, what the conversation is gonna be about. One of the things that you have to remember is when you get in a difficult confrontation, always set the expectation of how you want a discussion to go, the do's and don't. The tone and the word. Here's the thing that I'm not going to say. I know I'm going to talk to you about something, but I don't want you to get into this type of tone or these words but be concise, be precise, go straight to the point. Talk about what you want to confront about, what you felt was supposed to be done, and then finally you listen and watch how they react. And the reaction can go either way there. It can be mature and get into the explanation of what really happened. Some people are oversensitive, overreactive. They get into loud words, name calling, all that kind of stuff. You can't handle that stuff. You leave or you hang up the phone and you just let them know that it's not going to be acceptable until they get into a right mind to be able to get a real discussion on a regular tone. Let them understand that. Asserting yourself at the office, I wanted to get into different sections of asserting yourself, and I'm going to run through this real quick because I don't want to pass 15 minutes. Again, asserting yourself at the office, that's another debate, right? A lot of people that want to chit chat. When you're at work, make sure you work. The chit chat thing, you can do that on your lunch breaks and stuff like that. Keep that for those places. People that stop here and try to distract, just say, hey, let me finish through this little project. I'll get to you. We'll get into the middle thing. Let's grab lunch. We're gonna chat. Just kind of let people ask you, hey, you have a minute? It's like, listen, I really don't have a minute right now, but let me get back to you and all that. And little things at work, communication quality, what kind of communication is acceptable, is not acceptable. Make sure that you outline those things. Set yourself at home. Um, keep promises, set expectation, and meet them. Right? You know, um, language that's accepted at home, tonality, set goals as a family, enforce the discipline as promised. Don't flip flop decisions as the leader of a household. Don't say yes here and then no there. I mean, you have the right to change your mind, but don't change all the time. All your family is watching, your spouse is watching, everybody is watching you at home, but you don't know that. And so make sure you assert yourself at home. Asserting yourself with extended family, that's like, the whole family or, outside of your household. That's a different thing. The family reunion, there's always somebody that's loud and all that kind of stuff. Hey, be calm, sit there. If you have something to say, you speak. Don't be afraid and intimidated by anyone. There's always somebody that feel like they are the it of the family and they're gonna sit, monopolize the speech and they're gonna speak for hours. You don't have to accept all those things. Raise your hand and say, some other people need to speak, and don't be afraid to assert yourself even in your extended family. Don't be afraid to get at odds with somebody just because you might not talk to them for the next month. So it doesn't matter, right? Asserting yourself as in extended family circle. Make sure people know that you're not going to take anything, you're not going to take any BS, you're not going to accept any type of words, discussion, and tone. Also, in those kind of circles, people need to know you when they think about you, that that's how you react. And finally, um, not finally, but asserting yourself in a relationship, which is the same thing, but it's one on one with friends, with significant others. Hey, here there's a rule. You know, basic respect is assertiveness. Respect and honesty are key in relationship. You stop everything when something is not right. You stop. You sit down. You talk about it. Be honest. That's assertiveness. Respect each other. Even best friends are actually the ones that should respect each other more, because you guys know each other, so you can tell the truth and be open and be vulnerable and be adults about it, and take honesty and feedback in a mature and secure way. Hard conversation in relationship is very important to assert yourself as needed. Don't be afraid. If something happened, then it wasn't even meant to be, and that wasn't even a best friend, or friendship, because friendship should always be honest and vulnerable. And then the other thing about that is confidentiality in a friendship. And then finally, assert yourself in other circle. It's the same principle. State your mind. Don't let anybody walk over you. Other circles like parties and group parties and things like that, where you either know a few people or nobody and things like that. But just be on. Um, don't let anybody walk over you. People try to use the passive aggressive thing in a conversation, try to exclude you. Make sure you speak up and you give your opinion, and don't let anybody walk over you. Okay, so those were a few things that can get into details, but again, 17 minutes. I knew I was going to go over. But hey, you know what? I really enjoy talking about these things. If you like some of these things, obviously share this, subscribe to the video, pass on, whatever is value for you. Put that in the comments and tell me what you think about those things. And we're gonna end that today now, and I'll see you in the next video. Again, I enjoy talking to you guys. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate you guys being part of the journey of personal development. All kinds of value that is going to be added to this channel. So take care, guys. I'll see you in the next video, and peace.